What if I told you that somewhere on this planet there is a city built for 100,000 people, and almost none of us have ever heard its name? A city with streets, trade routes, a skyline made of earth instead of steel. And one day, everyone just left. No war recorded, no goodbye, just silence. And it's not the only one. Across the world, in jungles, deserts, and under the sea, there are 7 of these places. Cities that were once the largest, the richest on Earth, and then vanished so completely we spent centuries not knowing where to look. Today, we walk through all 7 in the order they were lost. Stay until the end, because the last one may be the story that inspired the most famous lost city of all, Atlantis. Segment 1, Cahokia, Illinois, USA. Let's start close to home because most people assume nothing like this happened in North America before Europeans arrived. They're wrong. Just outside modern-day St. Louis, there was once a city called Cahokia. At its height, around the year 1100, Cahokia was bigger than London, bigger than Paris. Tens of thousands of people lived there, arranged around massive earthen mounds, some over 100 feet tall, built entirely by hand, basket by basket. There were plazas, neighborhoods, a ruling class, and trade reaching all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. And then, by 1400, it was empty. No written record survives to tell us why. Historians point to drought, deforestation, political collapse, maybe all 3. The mounds still stand today, and you can climb the largest one and realize you're standing on top of a lost civilization most Americans were never taught existed. Segment 2, Angkor, Cambodia. Now to Southeast Asia, to the largest pre-industrial city that ever existed on Earth, Angkor. At its peak, in the 12th century, Angkor may have supported nearly 1 million people, spread across canals, reservoirs, and temples, the most famous of which, Angkor Wat, still stands today. This was an engineering marvel, a hydraulic city built to control monsoon floods and dry season droughts at once. But the very system that made Angkor possible may have been its undoing. Canals silted up, or decades of drought gave way to catastrophic flooding. Whatever the cause, the population drained away and the jungle grew back. Vines wrapped around stone towers. Roots split temple walls from the inside. For centuries, Angkor existed only in local memory, until French explorers in the 1800s were led there by villagers and discovered a city the outside world had forgotten. Segment 3, Great Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe. Here's a lost city with a darker twist, one that says more about the people who found it than the people who built it. Great Zimbabwe was a massive stone city, its walls built from cut granite blocks, stacked without a single drop of mortar, strong enough to still be standing today. It was abandoned around 1450, likely after its farmland, gold, and grazing land were exhausted by a population that had outgrown them. But when European colonizers encountered these ruins centuries later, they refused to believe African people had built them. Colonial authorities credited Phoenicians, Arabs, even lost tribes of Israel, anyone except the ancestors of the Shona people who actually lived there. It took decades of pressure and suppressed evidence before the truth was widely acknowledged. Great Zimbabwe was, and always had been, a fully African achievement. The country that stands there today didn't just take its independence, it took its name from these ruins. Segment 4, Nan Madol, Micronesia. Now, somewhere almost nobody has heard of, and once you see it, you won't forget it. In the middle of the Pacific, off the island of Pohnpei, there is a city built not on land, but on top of a coral reef. Nan Madol is nearly 100 artificial islets, separated by tidal canals, constructed from massive columns of black basalt stacked log cabin style, some weighing several tons each. No wheels, no draft animals, no cranes. And yet, over 500 years ago, an entire ceremonial capital was raised out of the sea by hand. To this day, nobody can fully explain how they moved stones that heavy across open water. Local oral tradition says the columns were flown into place by priests commanding the rocks themselves. Nan Madol was abandoned sometime in the 1600s, and today it sits quiet, half reclaimed by mangroves, one of the strangest, least visited ruins on the planet. Segment 5, Skara Brae, Orkney, Scotland. Not every lost city was left to the jungle or the sea. Some were simply buried. On a windswept stretch of the Orkney Islands in Scotland, there is a village older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Skara Brae was built around 3000 BC, a cluster of stone houses complete with stone beds, stone shelves, even what looks like the world's oldest indoor toilets. At some point, its people left, and the sand simply swallowed it whole. For 4,000 years, Skara Brae slept beneath the dunes, completely unknown until the winter of 1850, when a violent storm tore across Orkney and ripped away the grass-covered mound above it. A local landowner walked out to check the damage and found himself staring at rooms no human had seen in 4 millennia. Furniture still in place, hearths still visible. We only know it exists because of one storm on one afternoon. Segment 6, Thonis-Heracleion, Egypt. Some cities weren't buried by sand or reclaimed by trees. This one sank. Thonis-Heracleion was once one of the busiest port cities in the ancient Mediterranean, sitting near the mouth of the Nile, a gateway between Egypt and the Greek world. Ships passed through its harbour for centuries. And then, around the 2nd century BC, rising sea levels, soil liquefaction, and possibly a sudden earthquake caused the ground beneath the city to give way. Thonis-Heracleion slipped beneath the waves, and for 1,200 years it was little more than a name in ancient texts, a city many assumed was pure legend. Then, in the year 2000, underwater archaeologists searching Egypt's coastline found streets, statues, temple foundations, entire ships still resting on the seafloor exactly where they sank. Divers today can swim through the columns of a city that vanished from the surface but never actually disappeared at all. Segment 7, Helike, Greece. And finally, the story that ties everything together. In ancient Greece, there was a wealthy coastal city called Helike, home to a great temple of Poseidon, god of the sea and of earthquakes. In the winter of 373 BC, on a single night, the ground beneath Helike began to shake. Within hours, the earthquake was followed by a towering wave that swept in from the Gulf. By morning, Helike was gone. Not damaged, gone. Ancient writers described sailors looking down through clear water and seeing the bronze statue of Poseidon still standing on the drowned seafloor. For centuries, Helike was treated as a cautionary myth. But here's the detail that should give you chills. Many historians now believe Helike, a real, wealthy city destroyed in a single night and swallowed by the sea, was one of the direct inspirations for Plato's story of Atlantis. The most famous lost city in human history may have simply been a memory of a real one. If this fascinated you, subscribe. Ash and Ancestors like this drops every week.